Hi there, welcome to this week's Foam Drawing Friday. Today I'm going to show you a difficult band. It's a band which combines both horizontal and a vertical bind. So you're going to have to really pay attention and try your very hardest, and don't despair. If you find it difficult, then go back to some of the previous exercises and just practice those, try again, and then come back to this one, or keep going at trying to get the lines for this one right. It is difficult, as I say, and I'll show you now what it looks like. So we start off with a release, and we go into a bind, and then a release, and into a bind, and into a valley, and then into a bind, and then into a release, and a bind, and then into a loop. We loop around here, and then we come round, and we go in with our intersecting line. We create a line running back the way, and then we loop around at the very end. So this is the bind that you'll create, and as you can see, it's got 2 horizontal bands and 2 vertical bands, and it combines the line that runs from left to right, has a sort of valley part, and when we're coming back the way with our intersecting line, then when we do the first vertical bind, then we, instead of a valley, then we create a hill. And as you can see, mine here wasn't really straight, so you can go over this again and again, and like we have done previously, and then you loop around at the end. So I'll show you what this looks like in terms of the line running from left to right first. So it's looks like this. So we've got the bind here, and then in towards the loop, and I'll just show you with the red crayon the intersecting line, what that looks like going back the way. So then that would look like something like this. And here is our hill, and then a bind. So that's what the line, intersecting line running back the way looks like. This is the blue line, starting everything off. I'll just show you what the 2 lines combined look like with the coloured crayons. So we're starting with the blue crayon. And then taking over with the red crayon, just to show you what it looks like. And here is a little hill. And looping around towards the end. So as you can see, you've got your release, and then you bind in the short section here, and then you release in the long section, and then you bind in the short section here, and then you release in your valley in the blue part when you're going from left to right. You release here, and then you slow down, and then you bind here, and then you pick up speed again in your release, and then you slow down in the bind in the short part, and then you release around, and then you slow down again in the short part, inside part, and then you release, and then you slow down in your bind, and then you release in your hill, and then you slow down again, and then you release here towards the end, and you slow down in the last part here, and then you release around, all the way around in your loop here. Now, as I said, this is a difficult exercise. Just getting the lines to intersect correctly and sit neatly together can be difficult and a challenge. One of the things that you might find challenging is, as I said previously, this thing with the binds being both horizontal and vertical. So what you can do, if you feel that that might benefit you, is you can work simply on creating and getting a feel for the difference between the horizontal bind and the vertical bind. So if you want to start off, I'll show you here in the periphery with the blue and red crayon how you can create vertical and horizontal binds. There's two ways of creating a vertical bind, and you do that by taking your pencil or crayon and creating a line that looks like this. And then, and I'll just put a little arrow on it, and then you have your red line, intersecting line going the opposite direction, and that gives you a vertical, almost vertical bind. Mine's a little bit squint, as you can see, so I could work on getting a bit more upright there. And the other way you can do it, instead of working from left to right towards the top with the blue line, you can work from the left but downwards with the blue line instead. So you would go like this. So you'd go in this direction, and then you would have your red intersecting line coming back the way, looking like this. So that's the other way. So that, as you can see here, both, and this is a bit more upright. I was quite lucky there. And that's the vertical bind. That's the two ways of creating a vertical bind. And as you can see in both of these, you have your lines at the sides. So the lines that are meeting each other are at the sides of the bind. So if you want to create horizontal bind, there's also two ways of doing that. You can do that by going with your blue crayon. You can go like this, and then with your red crayon you go like this. So here you're going in that direction with the red, and in this direction with the blue. And here you can see you've got the lines starting, they're at the top. So when your line when your bind is horizontal, your cross is always at the top and bottom, if you like, above and below, whereas when it's vertical, it's to the sides of the bind. So the other way you can create your horizontal bind is which is what we're actually doing in this exercise. We're coming from below and then going up the way. So that's would then look like this. I'm going in that direction, and then you've got your red intersecting line going in that direction, and that again gives you your it's not very neat. I'm sure you can do much better than this, but it's really supposed to be like that. So you can play around with getting your bind looking neat, and your cross, your lines should probably be more like this, actually, and then that your bind in between there. So I hope that gives you a good idea of what you need to do in order to practice your horizontal binds and your vertical binds. And next week I will be back with a new exercise, and we'll talk a little bit about the stages that we've been through already that the book also mentions at this point. So I look forward to seeing you next week with a new exercise.